I'm John Dorrer, and this is my wife, Susan. We're from Carmel, Indiana. We've had our Elite 2 since March of 2022, and our hull number is 1045, so I still kind of consider us newbies. This was a big jump up from our previous camper, which was a pop-up truck camper. Susan is the one that discovered Oliver while we were driving to Montana, and we quickly pursued getting as much information as we could off of the internet. And then I gave Oliver a call, and they connected us with Phil Andrews, and Phil was our salesman. And we've enjoyed a very good friendship with Phil since. And last year, in our first full year, basically, we had 83 nights out on the road. We intend on heading west next year so we can make use of the lithium batteries and solar and be able to get out away from campgrounds. And we've been very happy with what we have here because our truck camper was the bare basic bones of 2 AGM batteries and a couple 100 watts of solar on the roof and water in a stove and outdoor shower, and that was it. So having air conditioning and microwave
and a lot of storage.
The TV's not a big deal for us because we'd much rather be outside, either sitting by the campfire or visiting with neighbors or those kind of things. But she's the reason we have an Oliver because she found it. So I want to make sure she gets all the credit for that.
Being out west, I was tired of having to climb up into the loft to bed. It was getting harder and harder, and climbing over the dog and then over him. Plus, there was not much storage for food or even clothing for an extended trip. A month long was very hard to do. So I guess we were going through a drive-through for lunch, and I just started Googling and found the Oliver, the website. I said, "Oh, you've got to look at this, John. Our next campsite." I handed it to John, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we can do this in October." And we headed to Oliver in October to check it out, and that was it.
That kind of finalized it. I think we put our deposit down in September when we got back from Montana, and then arranged with Phil to go down at the end of October and took the tour and kind of started on the slow process of picking out some of the options that we wanted. And that was the nice thing, being able to make changes with those things, add or delete up to I guess the time that it was ready to go into production. And I honestly think that with everything that we chose, I don't think we really had any regrets on taking something that we didn't need or not taking something that we wish that we had.
And I think Phil helped us finalize our package.
Yeah, but I think other owners did too, because we came from AGM batteries, and we had to watch our battery usage, and we did a good job of it to the point where we go, well, we got to use lanterns tonight when we're inside. No lights. We're saving that energy. And the only time that was really a bother was if we were, especially out west, and we got down in the 30s at night, wanting to, be able to have the furnace on all night. Sometimes that wasn't a possibility. So now,
it wasn't fun.
With what we have with the lithiums, and there was a lot of very good guidance from other owners too, either off of the forum or off the Facebook site. And I think everybody, it's like a big family. So everybody's there to try to help others, and especially the new people coming in. I couldn't emphasize enough that they really need to watch the videos, not just once, but 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and especially the real tricky ones like the lithium battery video and the inverter video, all those kind of things, because I see so much on Facebook where people are totally overwhelmed. And when we did our pickup, I think the fact that we had watched all those, I think I was more overwhelmed as I started watching the videos. And when we picked up our trailer, there was to me anyways, was a sense of ease, because I kind of felt like I knew what we were doing with each major component, and I think that's important for people. Well, I think we like to hike, and it depends.
And
Yep.
hike with her and
Yep.
walk.
Yeah, and the
lot.
hiking part, we obviously have to be careful now, because looking at the trails and whether those are ones that we want to try to attack. But we love going places where there are waterfalls, and or we can take short hikes to them. We love going to the microbreweries. So
Later.
I'm always looking for microbreweries where we're going to be at, where we can either go in and grab a meal or pick up some supplies to take back to the cooler.
No walks now. No.
But that's pretty much it. If we're camping, and when we really can't do any boondocking per se in the Midwest, and can't even do that in Texas. Most of Texas, people go, you can't do that. It's almost all private land, and so we want to head west where we can find places that are easy to get into, but where we have a little more privacy than what we would have on a campground. Well, based on some of the things that I've read, and with another trailer that has aluminum, a lot of people spent a lot of time on that particular manufacturer's site and seeing what their owners had to say, and there was a lot of problems that came up, from wood rot to mice, and when you look at the Oliver, as complicated as the Oliver is with all the equipment and electronics, it's fiberglass, and there is no wood floor to rot out. There are no real openings for rodents to get into the trailer. You've got a roof that's all part of the fiberglass shell, where a lot of trailers that are out there today have single-ply roofs and joints and seams that over time, if they're not taken care of, can leak, and you've got a plywood roof underneath there. So having wood to us that was a non-starter. We wouldn't have even considered anything like that, and I think that's what sets the Oliver
apart.
I think the other thing is, I don't think you can find a company that is as responsive as Oliver when you do run into a problem. And a lot of times those problems are not actually something that's broken, but more of newer owners not understanding. And I was on the phone with Heather a couple times a month ago, and these were all learning things for me, and she guided me right through what to do, and so now those are filed away. I know how I can plug in at my son's without blowing his fuses on his house. So I just think that Oliver sets themselves way, way up above anybody else in the RV industry.
They've always been there when we've needed them.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, no, I think that That summed it up. They're just always there to help and answer any questions. I love it. It's like having another family. Yeah. I think my favorite thing about it is just the added storage. I know I always stressed before our Oliver, with our previous camper, I stressed about our extended stays, being able to take enough food and clothes, and I would have to take half of it back into the house because it just didn't fit when we got ready to leave. Where now, I stress about getting it in there, but I get all the food in the refrigerator, freezer, all the clothes in the overhead or the closet, and I've got more room. And I'm going, oh, okay. We might have to go to the store, or
I think they're still on
plenty
tap.
of room for souvenirs. I love the beds. I love the twin beds. I have my own, and I don't have to share my space anymore. And she's got plenty of room for her bed, and yeah, it's just a very comfortable lifestyle when we're traveling and at our different adventures. Yeah.
So the top priority for us moving forward is getting out west and spending time in the mountains and in cooler temperatures. So all we have to use is a furnace at night and maybe 60s during the day to get some good hiking in.